Hello, Internet. I am coming to you right now because I just found out a piece of news about the Marvel reboot that really got me the wrong way, so I wanted to make a video to kind of tell you why I envisioned something could have been handled better, and I don't think it took a lot of imagination to get there. So, here we go. So I found out this morning that Marvel was announcing a new book. At the time, I had only heard the title because that's all that was in the tweet, because apparently there had been some hubbubaloo. I found out why as we went, and you will too. But the title was A Force. It's like, a force? What? As in strength or energy as an attribute of a physical action or movement? You know, physics, a force? What? Oh, no, you mean like X-Force. That's a bad title. That is a bad title. I mean, I came around on X-Force, don't get me wrong, but it took me a while. You know why? Bad title. Come on. Yeah, Marvel's a brain trust. They need to be more creative. It's annoying. So, I found an image, and it's, it's all female heroes from the Marvel Universe. Not all of them, but frankly, a high majority. So, I'm just going to go through the list as I found on a Newsarama site, their article. So I'm going to quote here, "That being said, the coverage is an image of a veritable who's who of the female heroes at Marvel. From top left, we have Spectrum. Okay. Hellcat. Okay. Firestar. Alright, we're catching up. I see it. Vindicator. They're pulling for names. Alright. Jubilee. She's still gonna be a vampire? Okay. Carolina Dean. Aurora. Elektra. Elektra? Is she gonna be... How does that work? I don't see Elektra... doesn't... I don't know. Rescue. Wow. Okay. Spider-Gwen. Really? I thought she was going to be a separate... that's weird. Alright. Black Widow, of course. Moondragon. Alright. Snowbird. Pixie. Okay. Wasp. Of course. Captain Marvel. Of course, being Carol Danvers. Yeah. Of course she's going to be on the team. Makes sense, I guess. Spider-Woman. Now, I have nothing against Spider-Woman being on this team. I think she's a perfect fit for this sort of idea, but I think she should be in her newer costume. They portray her in the old, what I think is a really ugly costume, and not the new one. Now, that might be part of my bias. I think the new one just looks better in general, whatever. But for this pro-feminist being part of the trend, the whole femme chic thing, you think they'd put her in the new costume? No? That just strikes me as so weird. Maybe it's a lack of planning, whatever, and it's just this one teaser image, but I'm hoping that comes around at least. Here's the big one. Jean Grey as Phoenix. I don't understand how you introduce that bomb without that taking up a lot of the series, or you just make a snide joke and it's just gonna... And I understand, fans are gonna focus on this. Well, of course they're gonna focus on this. Jean Grey has been one of those characters that they've managed to keep dead now for a long time. It's been a pretty good run of Jean Grey being dead. And frankly, on some level, I think comic fans want that. Because they bring it up, it's like unearthing all this pain and sorrow, because you know she's just gonna die again. Look, Jean Grey is one of those characters that's sullied at this point. Her coming back alive has been a joke since, the, 80s? Like, leave it alone. Like, bringing her back is just such a deal, and then the fact that Emma Frost isn't on this team means there's this huge hanging question out there about how that's all gonna... It's not a good fit. She belongs with the X-Men for obvious reasons. Not even saying Cyclops necessarily, but really, yeah, on some level. I mean, at least when you come back, you have to have that. Like, if you came back, the first person you might want to talk to is, who was your significant other? That's not a woman needs her man thing. That's, if you're married, you want to talk to the person you love first. Like, come on. I don't understand how you can just... It's too much blah right there. But on the other hand, Rogue and Storm. Alright. Medusa. She-Hulk, of course. Dazzler. I actually think that's a cool pick. Assuming they do something with her to kind of take her away from the shield bend she's been on, because otherwise she's going to piss everyone off. Singularity. It's a new one on me. I think that's spacefaring stuff, though. Scarlet Witch. Okay. And Nico Minoru, who... Sorry, I don't know that one either, but I feel like I should. So, meh. Oh, also to wrap up one little bit of this, another chunk on this Newsarama bit was, but what's also of interest is who's not pictured or mentioned. One of Marvel's original heroines, the Invisible Woman, is nowhere to be found in the image. Duh. She's the Invisible Woman. Alright. What kills me about this book is I feel like it doesn't take a large leap to see. This is a huge lot of characters. This is such a huge team. You can't deal with it in, like, a book. And I'm not sure if this is going to be an ongoing or a miniseries, because it sounds like this is really tied to the Secret Wars thing, because there's something mentioned about a feminine utopia sort of deal. So, sounds like a House of M thing where this might run for a little bit. But what kills me is it doesn't take much of a stretch to see a slightly different idea becoming a really cool ongoing for Marvel. Now, what kills me is this big glop thing. Looks like a big mass of... Instead of looking at what would make a good comic, being what would make a good focus testing. And that hurts because that's kind of saying, like, oh, this feminism thing's really big right now. Let's really take this, slap it on the wall, and see what sticks. It's so... Maybe that's me being overly cynical, but I don't really think so. Because there's been such a twinge of all this with Marvel lately, especially with them looking for properties that aren't owned by other people, and it being this testing ground. This seems really... So, I'm not thrilled on it on that level. But what kills me more is I feel like you could have taken a few of the characters, maybe like the Spider-Woman, and then instead of getting Carol Danvers, get Monica Rambeau back, and so you can have someone who has a little edge, a couple other cool characters, and make it kind of a pro-femme book. Make it where, you know, the Avengers are Earth's mightiest heroes. They go tackle big bad of the week. But I mean, X-Men, when they're not gallivanting across space or fighting each other, are focused on mutant issues, and they defend mutants primarily, and mostly exclusively. And so they kind of focus on their people. I think having a small team who say, you know, there's a lot of women who need help in the world, will be the team to go fight for them. I think that could make a really cool book. There's a lot of issues, and right now that could make it a really relevant book. Kind of get back to what made Marvel back in the day by being socially relevant on some level. And, you know, in our society, there's a lot of more awareness of wrongdoings to women basically throughout history, but we're more aware of it within our culture now than we pretty much ever have been. And kind of having a book that touches on that and plays with that idea might get depressing at times, but, you know, these are superheroes. They're dealing with really nasty stuff, but I mean, they're finding ways to overcome on some levels. You could have a book that could do some of that, and that seems like such a better idea for a comic, for telling a story or series of stories, because it's serial storytelling, and do something bigger and better with it by kind of honing it down and making a gem of an idea instead of kind of taking something that's loosely blowing up right now and kind of just slapping it on the wall for the hell of it and seeing if any of it takes off. That's what I'd like to see. And so I've been kind of knocking this book. I mean, the A-Team's a bad name. Bringing the Phoenix causes a lot of stuff. And you know, I'm just trying to bring it up from, like, how are they going to deal with it perspective. But you know that's going to catch all kinds of flack because it's the Phoenix and there's fanboys. And how can you not? That's just... It's coming, whether you like it or not. And how do you reconcile that? And it kills me because I'd like to see a pro-feminist book with maybe a little more edge succeed. I'd like to see Marvel have their own Birds of Prey, but maybe with a little more teeth. You know, I'd like to see a book like that come up and succeed, because honestly, if there was a book like that on the market that had the balls to tackle some real social issues, I'd love it. I would love to read that book. I want to buy that book. And I mean, yeah, my idea, but I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, I want to see a book that is taking all these big popular characters and turning around and pointing it at some evils and have the potential to do something really positive with it. Have all this stuff get to something, mean something, be some frickin', you know, art, social change, that whole deal, that big part. Because when you think about the comics that you kind of look back that are, you know, kind of relevant, I mean, like, you know, Speedy being a junkie, Spider-Man stomping out drugs, or tackling the idea of, you know, AIDS at one point, like, this sort of stuff, kind of the loose parallel of the X-Men to racism and how that kind of built up, and the whole, you know, Magneto, Charles being kind of a MLK, Malcolm X sort of deal, and talking about that in a way that is pulled back enough that we can have fun with it and examine it, but when we kind of rest on it for a while, we come back and go, oh, bigotry is bad. But on more levels that reached more people, so when it comes around, you have those stories. That's kind of the idea, right? I don't know. I'd like to see more, and I'd like to think that, you know, these multi-million-dollar machines could be at least putting in the amount of creativity that I have in the spark of a moment, you know. That's just me. But screw me, I'm talking about Superman this evening, so strap in!